Chef Alistair Wise is in the studio for Fresh and Local. Alistair, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chris.
You've had to readjust your seating position. You're usually over there, but Penny Lamprey is in the studio with us as well from the Hobart Mums Network. Penny, good morning to you.
Good morning.
On this Mother's Day with your cookbook that the Hobart Mums have put together.
Thank you for having us.
And this wrap bag next to you is, she's lovely. And she's all dressed up to go and have afternoon tea, lunch with your mum.
With my mother.
Lunch with her. Doesn't she look sweet in her cardi?
Lovely,
it's
nice
great.
yellow.
This is producer Alice. Alice, after we had Oksana on the wireless, the phone's been ringing hot. What was everybody calling
We've
about?
had an absolute flood of people with memories of the glaciarium out at the corner of Creek Road and Main Road, which was diagonally opposite where the netball courts are, out where there's a truck stop.
Oh,
now.
really? On that side of the road?
Apparently it's all still there. And I think we should take you out there sometime soon. Get someone to take us on a tour so we can see it all. And I've invited lots of people to call in then with their memories of ice skating down there. It sounds like it was
this
a
was
really
an
major
outdoor
social...
ice skating rink.
Yeah,
Okay.
about a quarter of an acre at least.
Okay, total news to me. All right. The Glaciarium, again, if you've got some memories, we'll revive it maybe next week? Yeah, next week?
We've got ice cream next week. Well, ice cream, ice skating, that could work really well together.
Okay, we can do that. 1300 222 936. Back outside, Alice. You're not allowed to have some of Alistair's chocolate cake yet. All right. Now, were you listening to Peter Barefoot just a moment ago? Because I've been boring people rigid with that little bit of trivia that I didn't know. We all know Tanzania these days. I just gave it away, so I hope you were listening. Do you know where Tanzania, the word Tanzania, came from? It's all so obvious when you think about it.
No idea.
You've heard of Tanganyika, haven't you? Because you used to collect stamps when you were a boy, and you got stamps from Tanganyika.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah.
So, in 1963, was it 64, independence came along, but they needed sort of like a powerful neighbour. And so you got this tiny little island of Zanzibar off the coast, and they said, hey, can we amalgamate with you? And we'll give you equal weight in this new country. So we'll be the Tan, you can be the Zan, and we'll put an ear on the end. So Tanganyika and Zanzibar amalgamated and became Tanzania. I thought that was fabulous when I heard that.
Is
You
that what
look totally unmoved by it, the pair of you. I thought, why did I know that?
I have no idea. It sounds like what they're trying to do with like Oz America or whatever it is, trying to join America and Australia. That
You're
online,
kidding.
online petition. There are 100,000 people who've signed up already.
You think it's a good thing?
I think it's hilarious. I don't know if it's a good thing.
Oh, my.
But they need 1 million before it can get passed in to actually get a C in the Senate or whatever.
Well, so there's 200,000 signed a petition to say this is ridiculous. We can countenance it. Crikey. All right, Fresh and Local. Penny, what we do here, Alistair sees what's local, what he can do with it, brings along a sample purely for research purposes. We take a photo, we put it up on the web, and then we make the audio available afterwards and a recipe if necessary so people can reproduce what we have in the studio here this morning. Penny, you're food trained, you're chef trained. What has Alistair presented you with? You do a description of it for us.
A beautiful looking, I would say, torte. Layers of chocolate and cream and some poached fruit in between with some beautiful chocolate shavings on the outside, which I think are being stuck on by, a chocolate ganache.
So it's a chocky cake and the local part is the quince.
Well, and that, like you think in Tassie we're pretty lucky, and we got hold of some buttermilk from Ashgrove, which they're considering going into like retail at the moment. It's only available wholesale, but buttermilk makes the best chocolate cake.
Is that right? And my daughter came home from staying with a mate yesterday and said we had buttermilk pancakes and they were superb.
It makes them lighter and fluffier, and it's got a flavour all of its own. I would suggest if you're going to use it is if you buy buttermilk is let it get old. Because the older it is and it starts to curdly and people sort of go, oh my God. But at that point it's full of flavour and that's when you're going to make the most amazing cakes. It's like sour cream in... I mean, classically, I suppose in Australia, buttermilk's been a little bit hard to get. I think there's only one sort of commercial at the moment. But it really does add to the flavour of the cake.
Because we get so apprehensive with the use-by dates, don't we? If it's within 24 hours of the use-by date, we'll better be on the safe side and not use that.
I thought that's what the freezer was for. Well, yep, 3 months. Just added to that.
Because I dare say they do err on... Well, we won't...
They would have to err on the side of caution.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, there's a commercial aspect to it. I mean, I suppose then at that point, then you take it. It's your decision.
Mm.
Yeah.
The cake looks fantastic. It's multi-layered, stripy. It's 4 layers of chocolate cake with 3 layers of the buttermilk cream and the quince in between. Fantastic. This is the Mother's Day special.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what mum wouldn't be happy to get a chocolate cake for Mother's Day?
Yes.
And it's still time. It's still
Yes,
hours
I was
left
going to
in the
say,
day.
she's coming round for afternoon tea, so there is time.
There is still time. And I've sent through the recipe for the chocolate cake, so get onto it.
I'll just, Alison, we got that up on Facebook yet? I know you're under pressure. It's on its way, yeah, okay, yeah. Plus the photo. We'll let you know. It could be there in the next 25 minutes or so. We'll let you know just as soon as it is, yeah. All right, so do you want to run through
Yeah,
this?
well, basically, to make this is butter cake. This is not.
Sorry, can I interrupt? Penny, you've got to taste it for us.
I've
Are you up
already
for
tasted
it? Have you? Oh, all right, okay. Yeah.
No, it was very delicious. Very delicious.
Yeah.
But Chris likes to watch people eat.
He
so-
loves Really?
We want a bit more authority in it than that. You are food trained. You've got a knowledge of food in other ways we're going to talk about shortly as well. So I want a bit more science in your evaluation.
A bit more science.
What do you think of the cream?
I think the cream's very nice. It has a texture that I'm not used to.
Okay.
How do you do the cream?
Well, it's basically we've beaten up the buttermilk's in the cake, not so much in the
cream.
frosting.
Okay. Don't say frosting.
But it is.
It's icing.
No, it's frosting. You can ice something with frosting. Icing's a terminology word. Frosting's an actual product.
Rubbish. It's the American word for icing.
No, it's not. Icing's thin. Frosting's fluffy. Anyways, moving straight along. Basically, you beat butter and sugar together until it comes all the way up. And then we have added some boiling milk to it to loosen it. And then add some melted white chocolate in there as well whilst it's warm. And you get this kind of stable, fluffy cream that you can put on anything.
The white chocolate doesn't solidify out of
Well, because it's warm, it won't. And because there's butter, it won't. As long as you add it... Like we do it on like a stand mixer, but if you add it slowly, it will just dribble in and beat into the butter.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And generally, frosting tends to be like, because it's horribly American, tends to be 2 parts sugar, 1 part butter. But if you do it the other way around, it ends up being much nicer anyways. Do 2 parts butter, 1 part sugar. And then just beat it up. And you just add like a little dribble of boiling water out of the kettle. And that will help loosen it. Because ideally, you're trying to get it up to about 24, 25 degrees before you add the chocolate, because at that point, fats and waters emulsify best, and then you'll be happy days.
Yeah.
You can blowtorch the bowl if you have a metal one to do it really quick. It's always fun, like Mum wants to come round, you've got a blowtorch out. It's a plastic bowl. Yeah, not so much fun, but it could be interesting.
But on a serious note, I do love the way you put the science into this. I love it's all about technique, isn't it? As you'd know, Penny, too. But for me, who does sort of fairly amateurish sort of cooking, I just love to know there's another world out there. Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well,
inspiring.
you only learn the scientific part so you understand what you're doing. I don't like the point where it becomes kind of molecular cuisine, where you're starting adding chemicals.
All right, run through a method for creating this cake.
The cake is really simple. It's beat butter and sugar till it's light and fluffy. Again, the biggest point of that is to try and get the temperature up. Then emulsify in the eggs one at a time.
When you say emulsify, you mean mix in?
Yeah, just beat it in. And you're emulsifying them as in like you're making a mayonnaise. So if you add it too quick, it will split. If you split the cake batter, you tend not to get as high a volume, the texture in the side changes, so it's really, take your time adding the eggs, and after that it's all happy days. And then there's cocoa powder. Use good quality cocoa powder. There's value in good quality cocoa powder because you'll use a hell of a lot less than if you use, Milo instead. But bicarb for chocolate cake, bicarb will make the crumb colour darker, and the flour, pass that through a sieve, fold that in gently, and you have some buttermilk, and you kind of, some of the flour, some of the buttermilk, some of the flour, some of the buttermilk into the machine. Alternatively, mix it so it's just together, and then slap it in a cake tin, put it in the oven, 180, bake it.
The thing I think is that self-raising or plain flour.
It's plain flour because we're adding the leavening is the bicarb. You don't need to buy self-raising flour. It's the biggest con the world ever had. It's 3%. It's 3% baking powder on a kilo of flour. So it's 30 grams of baking powder to a kilo of flour. Go to the shop, it works out better value. And it's got more life to it, it's got more kick to it. It's a much better product just to mix it up yourself.
You don't get a chemically taste in your food either if you make your own.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's the biggest con the world ever had. Is
Do you pay more for self-raising flour?
You pay more for self-raising flour. Either way, like, you don't need to have that extra big tub in the cupboard full of self-raising flour. It's one less thing to buy at the shop. You just need flour, and you've probably got baking powder there anyways.
Yeah.
Make your scones and add baking powder to it.
To plain flour.
To plain flour, you'll find they jump a hell of a lot more and are a lot lighter inside than if you use self-raising flour.
What's the other product like baking powder? Everybody confuses the two.
Bicarbonate of soda.
Bicarb, yeah. They're not the same thing, are they? Or are they?
No, they're not. Bicarbonate is a part of baking powder, but it's not the whole story. Baking powder is a mixture of cream of tartar and bicarb.
Yeah.
And baking powder is those two mixed already.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get the mixture exactly right. You can try.
It's about 1 part cream of tartar to 2 parts bicarb soda.
So you could go the whole hog and make your own baking powder as well, couldn't you, if you wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just sift it through.
Yeah, all right. The recipe's up on Facebook right now, and the photo's up on Facebook as well, and we'll have the audio of all this up on our blog by 1 o'clock this afternoon. Good on you, Alice. Just going to stay back and do that. All right, so we've made our cake batter.
Once it's cool, I've split it into 4, which is easy enough, and then I've just thrown some cream in between each layer and some poached quince, because they're around at the moment. They're everywhere. And then I've classic American term, I've dirty iced it, which is literally taking a palette knife or a spatula, whatever, and crumb coating is the other word for it. It's just running a really thin layer all over the cake. What that does is ties up all the crumbs, so when you come to put ganache over it, you don't have all the crumbs tumbling down the side of the cake. You won't get a nice even finish on the ganache when you pour it over. Put it in the fridge for 10 minutes. Make your ganache and then pour it straight over. Go down the shop, buy some flake, throw on top. Roger and Sue on here, I'm allowed to say that.
The ganache is... What's ganache against? Cream.
Ganache is just chocolate and cream. So depending on what... I'd say it's always equal parts is the easiest way to go. Good quality chocolate will be a lot more fluid, but will set a lot better than if you use like a compound chocolate.
All right. Now, you've done this all your life. You do this in your sleep. For us mere mortals making this cake, from go to woe, what could I expect?
I reckon you can do it in an hour.
I could have that cake turned out like that in an hour.
Hour and a half. Would you be able to do easily?
Fair dinkum.
Yeah, well, you got all that baking time. If you think while the cake's baking, you make the frosting, you could even make the ganache then. You sit down, have a cup of tea and a biscuit, watch the cake bake, let it cool.
Wouldn't Mum be proud of you if you turned up with this and say, I just knocked up Alistair Wise's ganache creamy quincy cake thing?
Yeah.
We'll come up with a better name for it than that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. And it does look, doesn't it, Penny? It does look stunning.
And very stunning, very.
It's just, it's like one of those, I quite like that, those American cakes that are super huge. So we've just made a massive, it's silly high. You don't need to have the world's biggest slice of it, of course not, but it's kind of fun to have a big one too.
Yeah, because the impact of this is when you slice it, when you see the inside of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you go for Collingwood, you're set. Absolutely.
Just brilliant. All right, we'll call that Alistair's Mother's Day cake.
That'll do.
That'll do. All right. Alistair's Mother's Day cake. Recipes up on Facebook. The photos on Facebook. Oh, actually, it's been called Quince and Chocolate Torta on Facebook by Alice. She's much more educated
she's got fancy
than we are.
words.
That's right. Quince and Chocolate Torta on Facebook. Facebook North and South ABC Radio. And we'll have it all up on our weekends blog by 1 o'clock, because that's when Alice has to be at her mum's for lunch. So it'll be there by 1 o'clock this afternoon. Well done, Alistair. That's a truly impressive creation. Yeah. And as you say, it's maybe not that hard either.
Break it down like all cooking. There is no complicated cooking in the world.
Oh.
Break it down to its components.
You're listening to 936 ABC Hobart, ABC Northern Tasmania. It's 11:45.
Louise Saunders.
Watching television turned into real life this afternoon. Sitting at our desk, suddenly the police appeared screeching around the corner. Turns out it was an inmate who'd escaped from the custody of the police while being conveyed back from the Royal Hobart Hospital. Police this afternoon saying he was apprehended at the Queen's Domain. He'll face court later this evening, but plenty of activity this afternoon.
Louise Saunders. Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 936 ABC Hobart.
Our number 1300 222 936. Text us on 0438 922 936. My other studio guest, other than Chef Alistair Weiss, is Penny Lamprey, who coordinated the Hobart Mums Network in their production of Inspired Cooking, which Alistair is holding in his hand. Penny, who's the Hobart Mums Network? Who are you?
The Hobart Mums Network was formed by Christine Jolly just over 12 months ago, just to help connect, inspire mums, families, organisations, communities, producers and suppliers, etc. They have a number of events. There's some mumpreneur workshops and an online presence. And we decided that we'd like to put a cookbook together, just to, while we're on maternity leave, or just to use our skills, etc. For a while. So going back to June last year, we got together. There was a group of us, about a dozen or so, and using all our strengths, various roles in life, come together to put a book together.
Yeah, and to spread the word about the Hobart Mums Network, was that the point? Or to spread the word about a different kind of cooking? Was there an intention or a message behind the collection of recipes?
There wasn't so much a message, but we developed a concept that we wanted to sort of represent. So it's like a day in the life of a Hobart mum. So we've called out to the wider community to gather the recipes. We have a concept like it starts around dawn. Dawn could be a different time of the day for anybody. There's always a post-workout mum, so the snacks that we're eating today are different. Lunch isn't just sandwiches. It's unusual to have a jam sandwich these days. 3:30itis is a pain. We all hate it, but we've got it there. We acknowledge the dinner is frantic. Then there's the mental relief, and that's dessert. We figured that we could
Well, that's a really interesting and utterly pragmatic approach to the cooking life of a family, because it echoes what my family life would be like, except for the jam sandwich, because we get desperate in our place. We have breakfast cereal half the time for... No, that's not quite true. I'll get into trouble. It's not been unknown.
And it is still common, but because of our exposure to the world now, I guess you could say our culinary challenges and what we think is the norm is changing.
Sure.
So there's the recipes in there. They go from a handmade muesli to baked eggs with chorizo, lunches that, sushi. My little 4.5-year-old loves having sushi for lunch. It's one of his greatest things, but he'll still eat a jam sandwich. Dinners are always different now. The meat and 3 veg of 30 years ago is not probably so common. Now we're marinating our meats because we've had exposure to different flavours and spices, and we're learning to integrate them into our daily diet.
Yes, and it's also learning to, well, for me, the challenge is learning to anticipate, to prepare, to shop ahead.
Oh, the what's for dinner dilemma.
Yes. Rather than that,
I hate those words.
By crisis is how I eat half the time. It's like, which is an appalling way to eat.
It is. Well, one of the things that we're really proud of in this book is that you can pick it up any day, any time of the day, any day of the year, and find an applicable recipe. So there's sort of winter weight, summer weight recipes that you can use. Flip through it. The feedback from the recipes has been outstanding. The recipes all work. Prior to going to any publication happening, we had a massive testing process. So the contributors sent in the recipes. We sent them out to our food team. The food team was about 4 or 5 of us. We tested them for accuracy, sent them back to the contributor to say, okay, we may have changed a few bits, but we've kept the essence of your recipe. Now, are you happy for this to be yours? Then we sent it out to a blind testing team as well, and they said, yes, these work, they're great, they're fantastic, these are going to be our staples. So the feedback that we're getting from everyone that's purchased the book has been overwhelmingly
Patty, you sound like a whole lot more organised than a group of mums who thought, oh, let's put out a cookbook. There's a bit more going on, isn't there?
There's a little bit. Like I said, we all have our various strengths, and we come together to do what we do best. my background is cookery and nutrition. The administration manager, Ilka, she is the most amazing personal assistant. I would love to work with Ilka consistently. Our admin team knew exactly what they were doing. We had a print consultant, Tara. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew where to go and get the quotes, what we wanted, what paper types we wanted. Our graphic designer, Megan, she filled the brief.
So in a group of 12 random mums, you did pretty well to get that team together then.
We did. We put the call out onto the network saying who wants to be involved. We had a great influx of people, and we use the strengths and weaknesses.
Sure. But do you meet regularly? Does the Hobart Mums Network have a weekly meeting somewhere?
No, not as such. There's a massive online presence. There's a chat room, I guess you can say. I think there's nearly 1,000.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's quite big. And the range of topics that are discussed always vary. You put up there whatever you want, and we're there to encourage and support and inspire you. The cookbook team as such, I think we met 3 times as a group. A lot of it was done after hours when our day jobs, children, went to bed. And even the day of the book launch, or the day before the book launch, there was 2 or 3 team members that hadn't actually met, but they'd spoken to each other on Facebook. So it was really nice to actually see them meet for the first time. People involved with the photography, for instance, hadn't met the graphic designer in person.
But this is the changing world again, isn't it? Where a group of people who've never met face to face can produce something as fabulous as this, and do it all through social media.
It's fantastic.
Do it electronically. So you've got 1,000 friends in your network, but you probably have only met, half a dozen of them.
Half a dozen of them. Yeah, it's funny actually. Sometimes you look in the chat room, you see a post, and I haven't met Rula or Liz, but I almost wonder now how will they respond to that post. And it's nice because I haven't met these people, but I feel comforted knowing that they're there, and if I needed some advice, I could go to them, which is really nice.
It's nice too, like in a modern world where we are so fast and everything's going on, that you're still getting a sense of community, even in that online presence. Like being able to talk to someone like, how do you save burnt rissoles?
That's pretty much it. But the range of topics that we discuss is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
How do you save burnt rissoles?
Yeah. I mean, there's dilemmas out there.
There is. A sharp knife and lots of gravy.
That's it. Onion gravy. What's that lump? Onion.
And this is a mental readjustment for a lot of people listening, and I include myself in that you would think my inquiry about my results is far too trivial to involve in other people's life, yet it's the reality of other people's lives as well, and everybody might have quite seriously, a way around that.
Yeah.
But I tend to think, I wouldn't want to be that trivial. I wouldn't. That's just me.
But I think
it's a common experience.
It's adding to that sense of community where you can. We used to do it with our next door neighbour, but the reality is we're too fast and we're probably plugged into the system at some point anyway. So
that we don't.
We're losing that art of communicating. So I think it's a great thing. And on top of that, we all get to benefit from a cracking cookbook out of it.
One of the recipes in there is for quesadillas. So then there's also some notes in there.
What's a quesadilla?
Quesadilla, it's like a toasted tortilla with grilled cheese. You can put whatever you want in there. So your burnt rissoles, once you've cut your crusty bits off the chickens or the pup gets to eat, then you put it in the next day with your grilled cheese and whatever leftovers you've got.
Mexican cheese sandwich, think that. Yeah. Cheese, meat, like tortilla, crispy. Perfect.
Can you flick the book open for me, Alistair? You got it in front of you. The first thing you notice is the photos, isn't it?
The photos are absolutely gorgeous. For someone who... I don't buy cookbooks without photos, I have to admit. They're absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. I'll throw this over to Chris.
The energy balls.
Energy balls. I like, hidden goodness in there, I think.
We had the cyclone tornado that hit Hobart late last November. That was the day of the photo shoot. And I was called out to go and get my 2 boys, and my mum called in a panic to the house that there was a cyclone coming straight for Cambridge. And I get home and there was no one left except poor old Lisa. So I pinned her in the corner and made her finish the shoot.
That's the way. So that hand was actually trembling on the Powerball.
The fear of Penny, the wrath of Penny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It was lovely. And the food stylist, Yell in particular, she said, for a group of women to come together on that day and do what we did when we hadn't known each other or met each other or worked together. Alistair, you would know, putting a bunch of strangers in a kitchen environment and expecting amazing results just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Yes.
But we all had our strengths and we all capitalised on what we did, and we put our faith that each would and could do as required. It worked.
Alistair's mum's been known to cook a dish or two and write a book or two. You've come across Sally, I think, in the preparation of this, haven't you?
Yes, we contacted Sally and she kindly contributed some recipes. So her jam recipe's in there, her berry cordial recipe and her relish recipe's in there. And she was also very kind enough to come and speak at the launch about the book as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
great.
lovely.
Yeah.
She was really kind.
Yeah. Actually, Sally's on the radio next Saturday morning in our 10 o'clock talkback, or jams and preserves, whatever we call it, talkback. Your mum's on next week. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Is this a fundraiser then for the network? Or
It
just,
is.
yeah?
It's to help the Hobart Mums Network become financially secure and to help pay for various events, but also a large proportion of it's going to Small Steps, which is a Hobart City Mission initiative to raise funds for young mums at risk. So they've they've purchased a property, and now they just need basically some more funds to help pay the bills. And once it's all up and running and established, it's going to be self-sustaining. So there'll be, I think, up to 12 young mums and their families for 2 years to teach them life skills and just to help keep them out of the foster care environment.
It's brilliant, Penny. It's such a win-win for everybody, isn't it? And I'm thinking, you're going to mum's for afternoon tea, you're thinking, oh, maybe I should have got her a present. I assume you can get this online, eh?
You can get this
do it
online.
right now,
You
couldn't
can do it right now. You could. HobartMums.net. You can pop into Fuller's Bookstore, have them as well. There's various outlets in Hobart. And the Haven have them in town. They're open Monday, Wednesday and Thursday. But from this Wednesday, I believe it's National Families Week, so the Haven's open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, and Monday, Tuesday next week.
Yes.
From 10 to 2, so you can pick them up.
Yeah, but what sort of price have you got on?
$25.
Is that all? $25. You don't
it's
get much for
nothing,
$25
It's
in publication.
unbelievable.
Yeah, full
Yeah.
colour publication. That wouldn't cost. It wouldn't be cheap to print something like that as well. Yeah, and to join the Hobart Mums Network, you just simply do a search and join online. Is that how?
Yeah,
how
you
it
can
goes?
join online. I believe
it?
all the links are there if you want. There's a very small membership fee which just helps cover overheads. They have a lot of workshops, family-friendly ones, or
When you say
the Hobart Mums Network, I guess.
yeah, so it's
We.
Yeah, it's
We.
The royal we.
Yeah, but it's an amorphous mob of people, is it though? But is there like a head mum?
There is a head mum. I guess you could call her. She'd probably be cringing at the moment at the thought of that. Christine Jolly's the head mum, the director of the Hobart Mums Network. She set all of this up.
The big mama.
Does she get an extra big wooden spoon?
If we've been naughty. Penny, you haven't sold 4 books today. No, Christine set it all up. She's done it. She moved from America and just found the overwhelming support that she received in Hobart amazing and just wanted to give that back, and I think she's done it tenfold.
And here am I saying all this anti-American, whatever, interpret it how you will stuff earlier. Yeah. You wouldn't have to be a Hobart mum, though, would you? You just
I
have to
don't
be...
believe so, but a lot of the benefits and the events, I guess, are Hobart-centric.
Do you have to have proof that you've actually got children?
No.
Send in photos of your
I
kids
think the
or something?
fear in your eyes sort of gives that away.
I think it's fantastic. As Alistair said, it's the over the fence replacement in a contemporary world, isn't it?
Yeah. It really is. It goes beyond the pages of just a cookbook. What it does for the community and the skills that each of the team members have been able to use and develop. The Small Steps, the program, even our advertisers, they're now being able to source different ingredients that there's demand for. They know what their customers want.
Terrific.
We know which Tasmanian suppliers and advertisers want to support us, so in turn we can support them. So we're keeping local businesses afloat. It's a win for everybody.
Yeah. All right, we're down to our last 30 seconds. The name of the book, again, if you want to go into your bookshop and ask for it, if you can't get online, is...
Inspired Cooking, compilation of family recipes from Hobart Mums.
From the Hobart Mums Network, or you can just do a search for that, and you could even sign up if you're interested to. Or give us a quick call now, and we could probably put you in touch with Penny on 1300 222 936. Chef Alistair Wise, thank you very much for coming in this morning.
No worries.
The Quince and Chocolate Torte is up on Facebook right now, and we'll have a replay of the audio with the method as well up on our weekends blog by 1 o'clock this afternoon. And Penny Lamprey, thank you for coming in as well.
Thank
Stay
you.
in touch.
Thank you for having us.
Chris Wisby saying good morning for now. You're listening to 936 ABC Hobart, ABC Northern Tasmania. It's 12 minutes.